14. It was a great football game. It was certainly a big win for the University of Arkansas. This is the first time in 3 years I've been able to come on this show after a win over Texas. It gives me a great delight to do so. Not because of me personally, but because of our football players who paid such a tremendous price this year to get where we are. But we did not get a pardon for the year. We merely got a reprieve. Because down the road is the University of Houston Rice, Baylor, which beat Army 55-0, Texas A&M down there, and SMU. But it was a great win, and we'll be back in just a moment to look at some of the highlights and the reasons why after this.
Of course, first of all, and you made a statement before we got together today about the fact that you can't appreciate the Texas-Arkansas game or series, I guess, until you win it. Would you explain what you meant by it?
Well, just, you know, Texas, you have to prepare for them like any other football game. And, you know, this wasn't a coaching victory by any stretch of imagination, because many people say, boy, you did a great job coaching. Well, then I say, well, you think I did a lot lousy in the last 2 years. But our players played so well. But what I say about the Texas game is basically this. You know, 2 years, it's a big ball game because it's between two winners. Arkansas has a winning tradition, as does Texas. But to watch the way our fans reacted and the way they celebrated, now I understand what the Texas game is all about. Up there in Fayetteville, I tried to get down Dixon Street to get a bite to eat after the game, and the police had it barricaded off because all the students were marching on Dixon and parade and everything else. And I said to the policeman, I said, is there anything wrong? And he said, no, not if you don't win anymore. So, but it just, you know, the way people enjoyed it, and it was just great for our fans. You know, I've watched our senior players cry in the locker room 3 straight years now after the Texas game. And I want to show you one thing. It's much better to watch them cry after a win than it is after a loss.
You also pointed out in your opening statement 55,000 fans earned the victory, too.
Well, there's no way in this world you could possibly minimize the importance of it. You know, there's such an enthusiasm and excitement when our Arkansas fans get together, no matter where it was. But I've never seen anything like yesterday. I mean, they gave us such a tremendous lift, and we knew our defense would have to play well, especially in the first quarter. But the fans were just tremendous, and I think it's a real tribute to Texas to play as well as they did away from home in front of that crowd. And there's no doubt about it. As I said, the crowd will not intimidate a good football team. But it didn't hurt us either.
Coach, as you won your 10th straight game and we move into the game films, let me ask you about the wind. I thought we were back in Lubbock, Texas. It was really gusting as we started the ball game.
Well, you should have been here 3 years ago when we were up there in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I had to put rocks in my pocket so it didn't get blown away. So anything we get like this, it wasn't anything compared to what it was. But, you know, the red and the white in the stadium and just coming into the stadium and the way everybody wears red and white is just tremendous. The wind was blowing. I was hoping we would not win the toss, and we did not. The toss of the coin was won by Texas, and they elected to take the win, which I felt they would. Had we won the toss of the coin, we would have elected to take the wind as well. There's a great panoramic view of it. Mr. Buckley, the referee, and our two captains were two Texans, Roland Sales and Mike Massey. Boy, our seniors have just been tremendous. And Paul, on this show and last spring, and when we did the spring game, I said then, boy, this football team just likes to play the game. They like to practice. There's something about them. Well, we don't have a star, but I do think we have a pretty good football team. They kick the ball off, goes down to the 2-yard line. We get a real good return here up to the 26-yard line. And we kept telling our squad, boy, whatever you do, hey, forget who you're playing. Let's play our own game. First time my entire career we opened up here with a pass to Duckworth, and Kevin throws the ball into the wind, and Johnny Johnson makes a fine play here. And not only does he get the interception, he brings it all the way back to about our 48-yard line. And they have great field position. And, you know, I told the squad on Thursday we're going to open up with that play. And last night my son said, boy, you know, everybody in school told me you're going to open up with a bomb, and I really didn't believe it. So, you know, I don't think we took anybody by surprise. But we felt our defense had to play exceptionally well in the first quarter, and that they did. Our defense has just come along so well. They pitch out. What a play here by Mike Massey, who played a great game. Just everybody. Marty Mitchum hurt his ankle in the first play of the game, or actually his toe, and did not play much the rest of the football game. And sophomore Jeff Goff stepped in there and did a tremendous job. Here he comes sprinting out and then overthrows here, and great coverage by Hugh Jernigan. Our secondary of Wessinger, Jernigan, and everybody else did a great job. They averaged 34 yards a punt going into this game, and in our game, they averaged 52. Now, there's Gary Anderson. It just, you know, goes over, makes an over-the-shoulder catch on the 2-yard line and struggles out to the 3. So we take the ball over deep down here, and nothing real exciting is going to happen. First thing we're going to do is we're going to run a sneak and, you know, just trying to get field position out of here. Now we run a sweep here, and, boy, Texas has a great defense, and The linebacker makes a great play along with Johnny Johnson. We run a quick kick here. We run a quick kick, and Johnny Johnson saw it the last second and got back. He got back, but Steve kicked it up too high. Had he kicked it low, he still kicked the ball about 46 yards. But Riley, boy, just did a super job. And I can't say enough about the job that Monty Kiffin does. Here you see some things happening up inside. Teddy Morris at linebacker. It's impossible to pick out a star in a game like this. So many people make so many great plays, and, of course, our players played with emotion. One of the big problems you have in a game like this is getting the players to actually believe that they can win the game. There, Alfred Muhammad makes a great effort, and Danny Phillips finally makes a tackle, but not until they have a first down. So they've moved the ball. They've had great field position. They have the wind, everything else, and it goes well for them. But our defense did really arch their back. And I knew we'd have difficulty moving the ball on them early, but boy, when you throw an interception on the first play and then you get the ball on your 2 against that defense, you aren't going to do anything real spectacular. Great play there by Randy Wessinger coming over to break up the pass there intended for King. They throw the pass there. Once again, it's broken up this time by Mike Masters. So on 4th down and 9, they tried the field goal. Tries a field goal, and you can see the fans up there cheering because it goes off to the right. It's obvious it wasn't any good. I guess it was probably somewhat similar to when Ole Miss kicked it, and it was real good a couple years ago. Now we take over the ball, 1st down and 10, and on our own 20 tremendous job here. They come back here and throw a deep pass, and they're setting it up here. This is Hugh Jernigan. That's Liam Jones. He's an Olympic class sprinter, but Trent Bryan on the coverage. Trent Bryan and Hugh Jernigan, our 2 corners can flat run. I mean, there aren't going to be many people going to beat us deep. But they're setting it up because now they're going to come back here shortly, you know, and they're going to, he tucks it up inside, and Jim Elliott makes a fine play. But, you know, what was amazing is Jimmy the Greek in his write-up on Saturday morning said the odd went to Texas because of the kicking game. I felt, you know, Texas had a great football team, but we have a pretty good team, too, and if our players competed, good things would happen.
It surprised me because of the average difference, Coach, in favor of Arkansas, that comment.
Well, he must have known something I didn't know. He must have known that guy's going to punt daylights out of the ball. But, you know, we can't control that. But Cox did average 46 yards a punt. But, Paul, of all the games I've ever been involved with, I don't think I've ever seen a more class game between 2 teams or harder hitting. Just tremendous hitting up front. And our secondary really did an outstanding job. Kevin Evans played a great game for us. And it just, you know, it was a total team effort. Here we let the ball bounce, and, you know, those are the things you can't do. There was one time he did not kick it well, but he did get an excellent bounce, and we take over on our 15-yard line. We take over on approximately our 15-yard line. Boy, that's just a long ways away from where we have to go. They ran the football team out early, you know, to punt with the wind there, basically on 3rd down. But the crowd was tremendous. And, you know, the first quarter, 7-0. As long as you're only 1 score down, things aren't real bad. When you're 2 scores down, that's when you have to worry a little bit.
Particularly in looking at the field position you didn't enjoy in the first quarter.
No, I think we got the ball on our 2. We threw an interception on the first play from the 26, and then we got on the 15, and we got on the 20, something along that line. But, hey, that's all part of it. That's the way Texas plays, the same way we play.
The Razorbacks will tie it up in the second quarter, and we'll look at that in just a moment.
Oh, for Bobby Duckworth, and it just goes through Bobby Duckworth's hands there. Just a great throw. Bobby ran a super pattern, but, you know, if you aren't going to catch a ball, you can save a lot of energy, you know. But now we come out here 3rd down, and we have a receiver open here, but Tim Campbell gets in behind our line. Tremendous pressure by Jim Elliott. Jim Elliott just did a great job. I didn't feel there was anything fluky about our win by any stretch of imagination. You're going to see the pressure here coming from Jim Elliott right there, up in his face. A fine coverage here by Hugh Jernigan and Teddy Morris, Jeff Goff, and Kevin Evans doesn't have much room to run, but he does bring it down to the 40-yard line. And, boy, now we felt we had to get on the scoreboard. This was a break, and we just had to somehow get on the scoreboard. And, of course, hey, they don't give Kevin much room there. We try to come down on the option, and because our quarterbacks aren't real good runners, Paul, people are giving the quarterback. They're taking the pitch away. That's why we can't get the ball outside, and it hurts us a little bit. But I thought our quarterbacks competed very well running up inside. Here we do pitch the ball back. We don't get the block on the corner, and that brings up now 3rd down and yards to go.
But you did get the score on the option pitch.
Well, we did. Here, this is a middle screen. We never run this to... Ran it there to Daryl Mason. It just makes a great effort in running the football. There's Freddie Akers, tremendous individual. 4th down and 2 inches to go. Behind fine blocking here from Ginn and George Stewart and Mike Burlingame. Kevin Scanlon goes ahead and gets the 1st down. Now on 1st down on the 28-yard line, actually the 29. We come out here and we do run an option. Get a great block here from Roland Sales. Roland Sales just... You're going to see gets a block, and of course there's a tremendous job there by old Daryl Mason, the tight end. See, Steve Clyde is a fine tight end, and both of them share the tight end position. But on Friday we found out then that Steve Clyde could not play in the game, although he had practiced. Here's a great replay. You can see Roland Sales block. Tremendous execution here. A great block here from Robert Farrell coming in on Johnny Johnson. It was just a little thing we divided. They put Johnson on the pitch all the time and played the flanker man-to-man. So we decided, well, if they're going to play us man-to-man, if we come in and block Johnny Johnson, then the flanker will come in, and he's not used to making the tackle, whereas Johnny Johnson is. So we're real fortunate in that respect. Then Steve Cox, you know, has the momentum, and he kicks the ball into the crowd. And, boy, what a tremendous asset he has been. So with the score 7-7. Excuse me.
Bless you.
I have a cold. I want to turn into pneumonia. They can cure that. You know, they can't do anything for a cold. But there's a tremendous shot of our band there. Hey, Vanelli, I don't know what it is. I think I'm allergic to Texas having a ball. You know, but they have the ball here, and they do move the ball. They move the ball with pretty good success. Throw the ball out here once again to Koenig. He's a fine receiver, Koenig. He's got excellent quick course of game. I felt they were content to go in 7-7 at halftime. And to me, I felt that, you know, with the way they had been moving the football and doing some different things, I really thought they'd come out and they'd throw the football and do an awful lot of fancy things. But they didn't.
Did you exploit that at the half? Talk about it? Or just keep that to yourself?
No. You don't say anything about Texas because they're such great competitors. They have such a fine team and so well coached and such a class operation. Boy, I tell you, I just think it's a privilege to be able to play in the Texas-Arkansas game. I can't think of anything that would give a young man a greater thrill than to represent his state in a game of this magnitude with the interest and the enthusiasm. On the last play of the half, they throw the ball out here to King, and King picks up about 7 yards, and then they let the clock run out, and it was 7-7. And, you know, I was perfectly content to go in 7-7, especially when they had the ball near the end of the half. So after the bad start we had at halftime, I felt the players came back the second half, and we were starting to build some things and felt a little bit better.
We'll return with some halftime comments from Coach Lou Holtz in just a moment.
After we made some adjustments and said how I felt, and the assistant coaches talked to him, then our seniors spoke. You know, we have it programmed. I broke my watch yesterday. I've lost 2 watches now this season, incidentally. But in any event, that I set my watch when the halftime ends, and you have 20 minutes exactly. Well, the officials come to you when the band's cleared. So at about 18 minutes after, I started talking to them. I'm done and still no official. I still hear the band playing. You don't know what else to do. So I just ask any senior to make any comment they wish to make. And it was very moving to hear some of the seniors talk. It wasn't any earth-shattering, rah-rah. It was just, hey, how we feel, and we've been here before in the winter program and spring practice and how hard we've worked, and, you know, we believe in one another and just go out and play the thing together, and we can do it. And we were a different football team in the third quarter, make no mistake about it.
I was going to say that. I know you've mentioned so many times the importance of control in the third quarter. You knew you'd get the football, go into the wind, and then the third quarter was significant.
We felt that, you know, if you could beat a team for 3 quarters, you got to be able to beat them in the fourth. That's what I can't understand the last 2. Hey, if you're better than them in 3 quarters, you got to be better than them in through 4 quarters. So, but we told our squad this. We felt the third quarter was really important because we were going to get the ball, and it was against a win, and we sure couldn't afford to have another first quarter like we did. So we felt it was important for us to get the ball, move the ball some, have a good kicking game, maybe get a turnover, and then go into the fourth quarter with the wind at our back. So the third quarter was really important for us to come out there, and we just laid it on the offensive line. Hey, we aren't going to do anything fancy. that we have a fine offensive line. We have some great offensive linemen. We have great players. They're not well known by everybody else because it's a total team concept we have. But we do have some fine football players.
The Razorbacks take the lead in the third quarter, and we'll join Coach to look at the film in just a moment.
There by Williams, but we did get the 1st and 10, and felt that was really important. We come off here now, and the thing we do best is just with our offensive line coming off it with Michael and Acker and Shanklin. You know, they've been a great defense down there for quite a while. Here they had a stun on, and Gary Anderson gets no gain. So on 3rd down and 8, we come out here, and he throws a ball to Daryl Mason. It was a great throw, and of course Daryl had it for a moment and dropped it. A great throw, fine coverage by Churchill. But we had told Daryl that, you know, you're going to have to catch it with them on your back because that's the way they just play coverage. That's the way they play coverage down here. We punt the football, and George Hall, oh, that is priceless. I want to tell you, that is priceless, that little girl there. But they take the football, and now it's going to turn a determining factor. After King goes for 5, A.J. Jones is going to go for 4, tackled here by Massey. This was a little bit of misdirection that they ran. They have fine backs. They have a fine offense. They're well coached. 3rd down, he keeps the ball, and just Jeff Goff recovers it. And, you know, after last week we had a chance to recover a fumble. We did. We went back and we worked on recovering fumbles all week. And we get the football 1st down and 10. So now we have the football in great field position. Here you're going to see Richard Richardson sliding through, comes behind the nose guard. Just as he gets ready to pitch it, Richard Richardson makes a play, and Jeff Goff recovers a fumble.
He just picked his pocket, Coach.
Boy, I tell you, the enthusiasm of our players was tremendous. So we take off. First thing we do is we run a draw, but it's very well defensed by them. So now this is a critical play. This was called by Don Bro and Jesse Branch upstairs. Made a tremendous call here on this one. As he comes out, and we're going to hit Daryl Mason for 16 yards and a 1st down and 10. You fake up in there, linebacker comes and hits Daryl Mason. It makes a tremendous run, loses shoe, but a gain of 16 yards and a 1st down. So we're on their 12-yard line. We're on their 12-yard line, and Sales loses balance here, but now our offensive line started to come off, and the bad thing about Kevin Scanlon, it's a good thing that the stands are so close to the fielder, he couldn't get back for the next play the way he faked. But our football team is playing exceptionally well at this time. Here they come with a blitz, and Scanlon does a great job of getting the ball off here to Daryl Mason. Now, they had good pressure on us, but boy, I tell you what, in fairness, you can see the enthusiasm, the feeling they have for one another, and the fans there, they're going just tremendous. You know, when we recruited Daryl Mason, we told him we don't throw the ball a whole lot. Here's a great replay as Daryl comes across underneath the tight end coming the other way, and man coverage. And it wasn't the most perfect throw in the world, but then again, Kevin was under some pressure, and I thought Kevin did a great job just to avoid the pressure in order to get off. But it was a great catch by Daryl Mason, and boy, he has great hands. Now Steve Cox kicks off into the wind, and boy, this was critical. I felt, you know, kicking the ball off into the wind after we took the lead was really difficult, but what a great play there by Mark Dewey. Mark Dewey, to give him the ball on their 20-yard line, which is the same as kicking off into the wind. Come out here right away, and, you know, boy, that guy's exciting, but just a tremendous play over there by Trent Bryant. Trent Bryant's becoming an outstanding quarterback for us. They run a little trap off up inside, and did a lot of things that give us some problems, but our defense just hung in there, and, boy, the ball was kicked out of bounds there as it's standing there, and I'm sure that was accidental or else it was a brilliant play. But you're not allowed to kick the football. You're not allowed to kick the football. It goes to the other team immediately. In other words, if you ever have intentional kicking or batting of the football, it goes to the other team. But it looked like he did it just while he's running. But after on 3rd down and 16, little scrambles for 12 before being tackled by Morris and Muhammad. And those are some of the things that are really impressive. Here's Alfred Muhammad, a middle guard, makes a tackle 12 yards downfield to eliminate a 1st down. So we hand the ball off up in here to Talbot. And boy, just the momentum, they stunned it a little bit up inside, and well, we just didn't do as good a job as what we have to do in preparing our football team for an opponent. But there isn't anything real fancy about this, and I don't believe you're going to beat Texas ever being real fancy. I think you just have to, you know, really do the things that are going to help you win the football game. Mark Douglas runs it up inside, and we're going to be forced to punt the football. We kicked the football here. Brian Sally. Boy, here's a walk-on young man from, I believe he's from Little Rock. He's just doing a tremendous job for us. You can see him, number 58. He plays with emotion. He's enthusiastic and just a very physical football player. I felt so many people in our kicking game. You know, Earl Buckingham, Philip Boren, David Burnett. You know, all of them did some great things. There's Jim Elliott making a super play. And boy, Jim Elliott's become a heck of a fine tackle. And he just, you know, loves the game so much and plays it so well. But here, Little just breaks contain. He's so quick. Reception there, and Gary Stiggers did the same thing. And Duckworth, as far as blocking to be part of the team, it was a total team victory.
Coach, we're going to see the longest 5 minutes, I think, in a football game I've ever sat through coming up, and a lot of excitement when we rejoin Lou Holtz in just a moment. Enmar finishes, enhance the...
Hey, let's get some field position. Let's move the ball out and then not get real fancy. But when we're moving the ball now, we say, well, Jim and Ellis, you know, let's try to get it down in there and get it where, get it all at once here. We throw deep to Duckworth and just off his fingertips here. It was two of them at great throw there by Kevin Scanlon. But now it's second down and 10, and we hand the ball off here to Roland Sales, who makes a fine play. And boy, just a tremendous hit over there. As I say, it was a hard-hitting physical football game, but a hit by Johnny Johnson. And after Sales got 6, that brings up third down and 4. So on third down and 4, Scanlon's going to make a critical play here before being stopped by Lance Taylor. He comes out there. They gave us a little bit too much room, and he hits up inside for 7 yards. And then we felt our quarterbacks had to end up with positive yardage for the day, which they did.
7 times in this drive, Coach.
Yes, he did, but, you know, time consumed. Now we're down there, and it's after Sales goes for 5 on second and 5. We run that little quarterback sneak again, and we happen to catch him in an out stunt and goes for 4. And, boy, it seemed like, boy, we had an awful lot of measurements yesterday. Gee, every time we turned up, but it was that type of game. And this drive was important. It was really important we get on the football or on the scoreboard, because then that would put us 2 scores ahead. And Tim Alexander did a tremendous job for us. So here we pitch the ball back, and a great play by Acker throws us for a 6-yard loss. From Martignoni, and before he's tackled by Johnny Johnson and Churchill, but it gives us a first down and 10. So we have first down and 10 on, there's a replay of it. You can see they knock Roland off balance, but the pattern is about the same thing off of what we started off the game with. You know, Roland beats the tackle there, tries to cut back inside, but boy, Texas really tackles well and plays very, very well. So it brings up now first down and 10, and we have the ball on their 22-yard line. Roland Sales carries the football, but Holloway and Sandline. Boy, these are guys that have been playing against us, it seems, forever. Boy. So Mark Douglas with Acker, and you know, we get down a little closer. They start bunching up a little bit more, and they start pinching inside it. You say, well, we could pitch the ball. But we had 3 points on the board. You know, you just felt, wait, we had 3 points on the board with Ish, and if you get that on, and that means they have to have 2 scores in approximately, I don't know what it was, 8 minutes to go, 8 minutes, 25 seconds to go in the game. That meant they're going to get the ball on their 20, and they've got to go 80 yards for 1 score. And I just didn't think they could do that very many times against our defense, plus the momentum. Well, there's such a difference, Paul, and I know I say it on the show every week. There's such a difference being ahead by 1 score and being ahead by 2 scores. The Cox kicked it off, and boy, being the championship team that Texas is, they come right back. They come right back, and they throw the ball, pass out here to Koenig. It's incomplete, but boy, tremendous pressure here on our secondary now. We blew a little coverage here, could have got burnt at that time. I felt our defensive coaches called an outstanding game. I really did.
You still have to respect the run here, too, don't you?
You still do, because they have the speed that can make anything happen. Here they run up inside and tackle there by Teddy Morris, and who split the time with Ozzie Riley. They run a reverse here. And boy, I felt, you know, that was a clip there on Jeff Goff. It was playing the reverse, but it was the first, you know, picked up 8 yards. We've been hurt by the reverse before, but boy, if a guy like Liam Jones, you think, hey, boy, we've got to play the reverse. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We just have to play it. Here's a tremendous play out here by Billy Ray and Jim Howard and Alfred Muhammad. You got to get a lot of people to the ball because Donnie Little is going to beat an awful lot of tackles. On 4th down and 1, Little sneaks for 2 yards and a first down. So then he come back here with a rollout, and we had real good coverage, but they ran the ball for 10 yards. We had some trouble stopping him because, you know, they'd fake up inside, and he'll sprint out, and he's so fast, your end goes wide, then he cuts up underneath it. You don't have much coverage here. They hit King out here for 9 yards before being tackled by Massey. You get a little bit nervous now. They have 2nd down and 1 on 35. You knew they were going to throw the football. It's a waist down. Here the ball bounces up, and, you know, it's one of those things. It's a touchdown, and I could just sort of sense, there's a great replay of it, you can just sort of sense a lot of people saying, oh, boy, here we go again. But you can't believe that. Hey, this happens. Boy, that's a fine move by Randy Wester, but it is a great throw. We had some people moving for it. That happens. That's part of it. There wasn't anything where somebody's going to wave down and say, hey, boy, this is going to happen again. The breaks are going there. Well, you make your own breaks. You forget about who you're playing. You just play your own game. When you play a team the caliber of Texas, you better be ready to play that thing for 60 minutes because they are not going to die easy. I mean, they are going to die a slow death. Now we had the ball with only 5 minutes and 7 seconds left to go. We felt this was critical right here, that we moved the football. We felt it really was, and we didn't do a good job of moving it. Kevin Skinnicon's back here, and we start off deep, you know, Duckworth. Duckworth is open, but I called the wrong pattern on that. I called a pattern that we don't normally run, but Duck ran the pattern we normally run, and Kevin ran the one I called, and we didn't get together on it. But boy, Bobby Duckworth is going to be a great receiver. Make no mistake about it. He's got tremendous ability, and he's a class young man, and he practices extremely hard. Steve Cox kicks the ball here now. He punts the ball 40 yards, and we do not get a real good bounce on it. It bounces back to the cement of a 40-yard punt, and with 3:41, they take over on their 43-yard line, and boy, it doesn't look real good right here. First pass is, you know, very well covered out there in the flat, intended for Sampleton. 2nd down and 10, and here he comes up here and throws the football, and that's just a tremendous play there by Little as he throws to King, because seconds ran off. Great play there by Billy Ray Smith. But as the 7 seconds ran off, the official didn't start the clock, and I called him over, and he came over to me, and I said, why aren't you starting the clock? He said, I am, as soon as I go get back by the ball. And I said, well, what in the world are you doing over here if your job is to start the clock? But I called him over initially. But now this is really critical. Boy, I'll tell you what, after 2 sacks, we have him now 3rd and 19. 3rd and 19. He throws the ball out here and just overthrown on Sampling. 4th and 19. 4th and 19 with about 1 minute and 25 seconds to go. 4th and 19. Boy, the problem we've had, they get a penalty here because a guy runs through our formation, and that makes it all the worse. And they used up all their timeouts when they had the football. And when they had the football on 4th down, boy, I still, people say, oh, here we go again. Here's the omen. 4th down, hit them right over the middle. And had we even made the tackle there, it wouldn't have been the 1st down, but it was. And this just gave us another opportunity. They throw 1st down, passes deflected by Mike Massey. Then we come on a blitz here, and boy, our player thought he intercepted the pass, but he obviously didn't. So on 3rd down, boy, Jim Elliott comes through there and gets good pressure, and the pass goes through our hands and through the receiver's hands. So we got real good pressure there at the end, and this was a field goal into the wind, and it was no good, and it was short, and of course we just took the football and ran the clock out, and pandemonium broke loose. And Arkansas wins the football game 17-14 in a big game. And if everything is true, the fans say you only have to win 1 game. Maybe won't even work this year.
I was going to say, you're going to head for the golf course, eh?
No, not really. You win something like this, and you've been involved in the other side. And I'm going to be in coaching for a long time. I've had some great thrills in coaching. A victory like this, it doesn't excite you inside and elate you or make you feel any differently than when you win any other game. but I am really happy for the players. I've been coaching for a lot longer and have been for a while, but our players aren't going to be in except a couple of years. So when you can see a senior share the enthusiasm, the self-satisfaction, the respect, and knowing that all the work that went into it made it possible and at the same time was worth it, that's just the greatest thrill.
Some post-game comments with Coach Lou Holtz and a look at Houston when we come back. Ball team, and you now in the wake of the great victory and looking down the road for the rest of the season.
Well, you know, Texas had a great win last week against Oklahoma, and then they lost the following week to us. And we just have to, you know, put this behind us. We're going to play a great football team in Houston. I mean, they're an extremely talented football team. Houston sort of feels that the Cotton Bowl was inaugurated for them since they've been in this conference. I think they've been in it every year but once. And they probably were the most dominating team against us last year, and they have them all back. They're very talented individuals. The win yesterday was a great one. As I say, it took a lot of people to raise that victory flag, and boy, a lot of people are going to have to try to raise the one next week. We're not going to catch anybody by surprise. We're no longer as the sixth best team in the conference that everybody's going to be after. We're just going to have to play exceptionally well. You know, we want to bury the Texas game, and I guess Channel 7 is going to have a complete replay of the game tonight at 10:30, and I think that's fantastic. I hope they show it up there in my area because I know there are many people who are at the game that would like to see it themselves. But we've got to push the Texas game behind us, and we have to get ready for Houston. I know Monty Kiffin's always excited. You know, he went out there and tackled Jim Howard, I guess, after the field goal wasn't any good. I didn't see it, but said he was rolling on the ground. That's the second tackle Monty Kiffin has made since he's been in Arkansas. 2 years ago, before you got here, Paul, we're down A&M. Patrick Martin intercepted a pass on the last play of the game and was running for a touchdown. The game was over. We'd won it, and Kiffin went out and tackled him on the 50. I guess he tackled Jim Howard. I don't know, but they tell me it's more tackles than he made his whole career at Nebraska.
It was a hard hit. I'll vouch for that, Coach. How about injuries?
Well, we lost some people. You know, we lost our Heisman candidate award, Mike Burlingame, for a few weeks. And, you know, anytime you lose a Heisman award candidate in the middle of the game and still go on, that's a real tribute to the rest of the squad. But Burlingame adds an awful lot to us. But we have a good center in Keith Holfeck as well. Marty Mitchum was injured on the first play of the game, and he may miss this football game. And Steve Clyde didn't play, and we're going to have to wait and see on him. A physical game like that, a lot of bumps and bruises, but not nearly as many injuries and bumps and bruises had we lost.
Coach, one last thing. The victory has got to really mentally push this team now. You've talked about great pride in this football team that they have in themselves. They've got it right now.
Well, you know, we have so many people around the state making a scrapbook for our players, you know, and I hope they're doing a great job. And I think the reason one of the scrapbooks of the players can sit down when the year's over and recall this game and that game and this right up and that right up. Right now, the only thing we better put our mind on is the University of Houston. Houston has a great football team. They beat us last year. They were co-favorites to win the championship. And if we have any intentions of winning the conference championship, we're going to have to play exceptionally well up there in Fayetteville. I don't know whether we can beat Houston or not. But the other thing I don't know is whether our players can lose or not.
Coach, I'm happy for you, your staff, the ball club, and happy for the state of Arkansas. And in celebration of the win over Texas, we'll look forward to seeing you again next Sunday. Have a good week, everyone.